Gambit was changed this season and honestly is still pretty bad. Hey guys, it's Zyvx from the Omni Collective team, and today I'm going to be ranting about Gambit. First off, it's not really a rant. It's more like an analysis of the changes. I have two major complaints with Gambit, but we're going to cover that towards the end of the video. I want to cover the positives first, just to highlight them, because I really do think they're positives. The negatives are pretty harsh, but the positives are really good changes, so I want to highlight them more than the negatives. My biggest plus with the new changes is the new heavy ammo economy. I like that when you kill a high value target, they drop heavy ammo now, but not as many motes, and clearing a wave gives you everyone a box of ammo. So it'll give you special and heavy. Some people run only special stuff for invades. Fucking props to you, you're a legend. So it's nice to have that. I know that this is a hot topic change for some people. I do have some opinions on it, but I'm going to talk about it later. I don't think this change alone ruined Gambit. I think that it pairs with something that ruins Gambit. Overall, having heavy ammo more consistent, more reliable isn't a bad choice. I just think that there are things that use the heavy ammo that are the bad choice. My other plus, in my opinion, is the change to how many invades you get during the mote gathering part of Gambit. It feels easier to catch up if you took too long to get your motes, and if you didn't invade first. I think that previously, and I think it's still that way, but it doesn't feel as harsh. If you don't invade first and get enough kills in your first invade, it is very rough to come back. And I think that lengthening out that first stage without having the invades helps the flow of the game a little bit more. You don't get smacked really early on like you did beforehand, and you'd get levers. It takes a little bit to get to that point, so it feels a little better. Speaking of invades, not being able to see how many motes players have and not seeing through walls when you ADS is actually an awesome change. As a typical invader, I like to invade more than do the other jobs. I don't mind doing the other jobs if somebody wants to invade. I do really like the change. It requires a bit more skill, and you can't just have somebody sitting behind cover and just watch them the whole time. Makes it a little bit more entertaining when you kill somebody with 15. You're just like, yes, I killed somebody with a 15, instead of like, I'm going to go after the guy with 15. It also makes you, as a player who has 15 motes, not as stressed. And so it also makes it to where more people like to hunt the invader, which is more entertaining for the invader and the person hunting the invader, than everybody running to the back of the map and hiding, which some people still do that, which is very frustrating. But I think it happens less out of the games I played. I had more people running around doing stuff instead of just running to the back of the map and hiding. And then I had to go to them into a choke point that was everyone was watching. So it was really hard to get to them. Speaking of invades again, I want to go on to the bad stuff, and go ahead and strap in, grab some popcorn, because I'm going to go on rants about this. First, right out the bat, anything with tracking, I hate it. Tracking module is one of the worst things to happen to Gambit. Requires absolutely no skill. You just point and click adventure. Eyes of Tomorrow, Gjallarhorn. Honestly, it ruins Gambit for me. I think every invade I die to either one of these two, and when I don't die to one of these two, it is very rare, and I actually feel really good. I'm like, oh, this guy actually has some skill behind him. I think the issue stems with the fact that tracking is very broken in Gambit, and also that heavy ammo is more readily available. I think if tracking wasn't as good, but heavy ammo was still readily available, Gambit would still feel better than it does now. So I don't think heavy ammo is the problem. I honestly think that tracking rocket launchers are the problem, and just the combo of the two amplifies the tracking problem even more. I think honestly the only way to counter any of this is running Eyes of Tomorrow or Gjallarhorn. You have to use it to beat it, which makes it feel even worse. Honestly, I think the fix is just to make it to where in PvP situations, tracking does not work. I know it would piss a lot of people off, and it's probably not the best method. So they just probably will have to tune back tracking a tad bit. Tracking just feels really bad. It feels so bad to play against. And I hate running it because it makes me feel even worse, because then I'm ruining someone else's experience. But to compete, I have to use this because everybody else is using it. So it feels just, ugh. In these clips, I was using a scout and a fusion sometimes and was getting some kills. But then sometimes I would invade and then get insta one shot by a galley with tracking from across the map. So it's just really frustrating, and it ruins Gambit for me. The other issue I have is with boss health. and the boss phases. It was the only reason I really hated Gambit Prime. Gambit Prime felt okay. It was a little too hard. It was a little, stuff hurt a lot. And the boss phases just felt super bad to me. I like being able to melt a boss. I'm a minority in that. And it's very personal opinion. But I hate being time gated. Or damage gated, sorry. I hate being damage gated. It's not as bad as it was in Gambit Prime, but I hate dealing DPS and setting up for it, and then like 2 seconds later, it's like, oh, never mind. Go kill these guys now. I think if they had increased the health, reduced the amount that the envoys gave you, I think it would still feel better. Gating you to where once you hit a certain point, or a certain amount of time, and it just locks you out, just feels awful. It just does not feel good. It would still make more sense to, you know, require more than just 2 envoys, and then you could just melt it and require like 4, maybe 6, and it would make some sense, because then it would still allow what they want, which is invaders to come in and compete. And then maybe over time you lose stacks instead of you being time gated out of it. Like over time you start losing stacks, so you have to go out and kill more envoys and keep that whole process going. I just hate them basically saying, nope, hard wall, you can't even touch them. It just feels really bad to me. Overall, the changes to Gambit are about a 50-50. Some I really like, some I really hate. I love Gambit. I got Dredgen when Gambit dropped. I like Gambit. I like PvEVP game modes. I like Dark Zone, and I like Gambit. But it's just, they're doing the same thing with Gambit that they did with Crucible, or they're doing with Crucible now. They take the problems with Gambit and they sit on it, and then they update it in one big sweep, and then it just doesn't work, and then we have to wait a whole 3 or 4 seasons to get another change, instead of waiting a whole season, multiple seasons, multiple years for some PvP stuff. And instead of doing a bunch of changes all at once, go through and do changes, and if it doesn't work, just revert it or fix it and move on. Every other live service PvP game does it like this. Overwatch, Call of Duty, Valorant, CSGO, they all do it. But overall, the good changes I like, the bad changes just are really glaring. I'm very passionate about Gambit because I really like Gambit. I hope you guys enjoy the raid. If you stayed till the end of the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that mess. Let me know your favorite Gambit moment in the comments. Favorite Gambit moment of all time. My favorite was when I first got my kill 7 Guardians while in a single invade. I got that and I was just like, oh my God. It was so cool. But yeah, thank y'all for coming out. I really appreciate it. And we'll see y'all next time. Peace.